The list widget has been available on AppSmith for a while now, and it has become one of our most popular widgets because it makes it easy for you to display data in form of a list, and also makes it possible for you to create a collection of repeated components. Now today's video is going to be focused on the list widget, and I'm going to start by showing you how to hydrate the list widget with data. Then we'll look at how to configure the list widget to display list items, and I'm also going to show you how to read data from the list widget. As a bonus, I'll be showing you how to build a chart simulator using the list widget, so please stay tuned till the end to see that. My name is Confident and I'm a developer advocate at AppSmith. Without any delay, let's get started. Alright, so right here I have a blank application on the canvas, and the first thing we need to do is connect this application to a data source so that we can pull in that data and display all of it in the list widget. So in order to do this, I'm going to be using the sample users database that's available on AppSmith. So to do that, we need to head to data sources. I'm just going to click on the plus button, and here we have the sample databases. We have the movies and we have the users database. I'm going to be using the users database for today's video. So let's go ahead to click on this, and then I can go ahead to create a new query. And let's call this query get users. All right. This is going to be a simple select query, and I can go ahead to run this. And here we have a table of users shown up from the response coming from the database. All right. So to display all of this information, we need a list widget. So I'm going to go ahead to bring in a list widget. So let's drop in a list widget. And by default, the list widget comes with some sample widget within it. We'll be configuring our own, so I'm just going to delete all of this. All right, and going back to the list widget itself, we have some properties on the list widget. The first being the items properties. So this is where you specify what information to be used to render items in the list. And in this case, you need to supply an array of objects where each object would be the list item in the list widget. So let's use the data coming from the get users query. And in order to bind that data here, we need to write JavaScript using the mustache syntax. So this is going to be double curly braces, get users the data. And that's all we need to do. We have that data linked right now to the list widget. Now, to actually go ahead to display the information on the list, we have to configure the first list item, which will serve as a template for other items in the list. So here we have the first item highlighted. We can actually go ahead to play around with the first item, and that will get repeated for all of the other items in the list widget. So let's say, for example, we need to display the user's name on a list. So let's go bring in a text widget. I'm just going to bring in a text widget right here, and this is going to be for the user's name. So for this text widget, what I'm going to do is make sure that I pull in the name of the user from the current item in the list. And I can access that property by writing the JavaScript binding. And here I have both the current index available to me. So if we say current index, for example, this is index 0, index 1, index 2. Now what we need is actually current item, and then we'll be able to access the properties of the current item in the list. So in this case, we want to display the name. This is going to be current item dot name. All right, and you can see we have Hilda, we have Alice, we have Sophia, and if we scroll through the list, we'll be able to see the name of the current item of that user for each list item. Let's also go in to display the user's email, for example. So I'm just going to bring in one more text widget, and this is going to be for the email. So similarly, this is going to be current item dot email, and here we have the email address of each user on the list item. So we have both the name and we also have the email right here, and this looks good. It's also possible to use other widgets within the list item that are not text widgets. So let's say, for example, we want to display the user's profile photo. So let's bring in an image widget, for example. Okay, let's put this out here, and I'm going to resize it a bit and then bring it inside of the list and expand it so that this looks nice. So let's go ahead to display the user's photo, and we can do that by typing current item dot image. And here we are able to see the user's profile image on the list item. So here we both have the photo, we have the name, we also have the email, and we can page through to see all of the information of the other users by using a page button navigation right here at the bottom of the list widget. Now heading back to the list widget, we also have some other properties right here. So we've taken a look at the items property. You also have the next one here, which is the server-side pagination. Turning this on would only render a single page, and then you need to set up events on page change and on page size change to be able to call an API or rerun a DB query with all of these parameters in order to pull in data for the next page. So you have the server-side pagination here. You also have properties on styles to be able to change the backgrounds and events like when an item is clicked. Now I'm going to show you how to read data from the list widget. And in order to do this, let us assume we need to build a form through which we'll be able to update a user's info. So we want to be able to select a user from the list and update that user's record using the form. So in order to do this, I'm just going to bring in a JSON form widget. We release the JSON form widget. It's a really powerful widget, and we made a video about using JSON form widget. So I'm going to leave it to the top corner right here so that you can go check that video out. All right, so here we have the JSON form widget on the canvas, and in order to read the user selected from the list widget and use that to create a form, what we need to do is configure the source data of the JSON form widget. And this requires a JavaScript object, so we can easily access the item from the list or the user selected from the list by typing list1, which is the name of the list widget, dot selected item, which evaluates to a JavaScript object. As you can see, we have the ID, we have the gender, and some other information. And heading back to the form, we can see right here that that information has been used to render a form for the selected user. And then when we go select a new user, for example, selecting Hilda, you can see all of the information in the form has been updated, and the default values of Hilda has been used to render the form. And we can go ahead to take all of this information from the form and use it in an update workflow to save all of the changes made in the form to the database. So this is how easy it is to read data from the list widget. And in this case, we used it to create a JSON form widget. Now, I also promised I'm going to show you how to build a chat simulator using the list widget. So let's go ahead to take a look at that. So I have the chat simulator here. And in order to show you this, I'm just going to quickly leave the editor and let's go ahead to deploy this. And let's take it for a spin. So here I'm having a conversation with Jack, and Jack says, "How are you today?" All right, and we can see the message from Jack. We see it's from Jack. We have the message body, and we have a timestamp telling us how long ago this message was sent. And I'm going to go ahead to respond and say, "I'm good. How's your family?" And we can see that I'm also able to respond to these messages. And here I have the sender, which in this case is me. I have the message text, and I have how long ago this message was sent. So all of this chat interaction is actually built using a list widget. And I'm going to show you how this is done by taking a look at the editor. So let's go ahead to take a look at what we have in the editor. Let's reload this so that we're able to pull up the information saved to the AppSmith store, because we're actually using the local store for this and we're not making any API calls. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is the chat function, and this contains a reset function which actually clears the store. But more importantly, we have the add message function, which takes a message as a parameter, does a check to make sure that we do not have more than 3 messages in the chat history, and then goes ahead to push that message to the array and save that message to the store. So we're actually just manipulating the store for this chat experience. But in a real world application, you might want to interact with a database or a caching mechanism like Redis in order to pull out these conversations. So taking a look at the input widget, so we have the input for Jack. We actually just calling the add method or the add function you saw, and we're passing in a text property, we're passing in a sender, which in this case is Jack, and we're also passing in a time so that we have all of the information necessary to build a chat. Same also goes for the U input. What we're doing right here is exactly the same thing, passing in a text, a sender, and a time, and all of this information is saved in the store So since we have an array of chat messages in the store, we can actually use that to build the chat display using the list widget, and that's exactly what we have right here. So we have that bound to the items property, and on each item we have the senders field, which in this case is Jack, the person we're having a conversation with, and here we have the other part, which is you, which is the messages you've sent. So we have two parts to the list. We have the left hand side, which is Jack, and we have the right hand side, which is you. And what we're doing is we're just manipulating the visibility of each side based on who sent what. So if the message is sent from Jack, for example, as you can see, the message is sent from Jack here, we are manipulating the visibility of the message field to only be visible if the sender is not equal to you, which in this case it's going to be Jack, so it's going to make the left hand side visible. But in cases where I am the sender, for example, the visibility of each of the widgets to the right hand side will be visible only if the sender is me in this case. I hope this makes sense. So we only have the portion to the left visible if we detect that the sender is Jack, and the widget to the right hand side only visible if the sender is you or me in this case. So we can go continue conversation and say they are good, and we can see that that shows up because the sender is Jack in this case. If you'd like me to show a detailed video on building this chat workflow, please do let me know in the comment section, because I think this is something that can be a standalone video if you want it to be. So please do let me know in the comment section. Alright, so this has been a quick video on using the list widget. Now you may want to go check out this video we made on the table widget, because the table widget is a nice alternative to the list widget in cases you might not want to use the list widget. I also made a video right here on using the JSON form widget, so go check out this video to see a detailed breakdown on using the JSON form widget, which you saw in this video when we were reading data from the list widget. Alright, so that'll be all for today's video. If you have any questions, please do feel free to share them in the comment section, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Alright, take care. Bye bye.